Welcome to the Conway National Bank Coach Carlton Terry Show. I'm Ashley Smith, voice of the Conway Tigers, and with me is Coach Carlton Terry. Coach, a big win last week against Wilson.
It was a great win for us. We had a rain delay, and that kind of gave us a slow start, but once we got going, the Tigers prevailed.
Yeah, and you were running the football, throwing the football. DeJuan Granger had another big night for the Tigers, which he's had every game he's participated in, 277 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He did have a big night, and if you look at the amount of yards that he got, you think we were kind of even, or we threw the ball more than we ran, but we were 70% run and 30% pass on Friday night. So we're able to throw when we want to, and not when we have to.
And running the football, Antonio Long with 82 yards, and you might have found a little helper there with Tate Finkley. He had 10 carries with 58 yards.
Well, Antonio, he's good for about 15 to 17 runs, and it's good to have Tate come in and carry some of the load. And we can spell Antonio throughout the game to make him last until fourth quarter. And Tate can come in at any time and take over and run real hard. He's a powerful runner. He runs low, and anybody in front of him, more times than not, they're going backwards.
And speaking of coming out parties, Juwan Moody, 9 catches, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I don't know if it's a coming out party. He's been here. He's been at the dance a long time, but he's exciting. We try to get him the ball as many times as we can during the game, whether it's through screens or handing him the ball. But going deep, we'll probably get him once or twice because the defense adjusts to his speed.
Well, and on the offensive line, you get a lineman back. Lucas Parton will make his debut Friday night.
He will. We missed Lucas for the first 3 games. I tell you what, I have to give credit to T.T. Crawford. He came over from the defense. We plugged him in. We've practiced him a little bit over the summer, trying to create depth at the offensive line, and he came over and did a great job. He was very unselfish. He played offensive line, didn't complain, but he loves the defensive line. So going forward, we'll still use him on offense, but he's primarily defense.
Well, that's the essence of the Tigers football team, a player like TT that'll play wherever you tell him to play.
Well, our motto is do your job, and he came in and did his job.
Well, let's take a look at the defensive end for the Tigers against Wilson. And Noah Freshley just had, I don't want to say a career day, but he had 2 sacks, interception for a touchdown, and 13 tackles.
Well, Noah played outside last year, and we moved him inside because he got so much stronger and bigger and faster over the offseason. But he's been a pleasant surprise for us at linebacker. Moody gets a lot of credit, and he has a big name, but Noah's been quietly making a lot of tackles. He got him a pick 6 the other night, and I was happy for him.
Well, you hear about Tonka Hemingway, and he's having a great year, but another unsung hero on that defensive line is Malik Morant.
Malik Morant is the strongest guy we have on the team, by far. I mean, he squats over 500 pounds, and he benches right at 400. So Malik is a hard worker, and he's a strong. He came from linebacker to defensive line, so he has good feet. He's a force to be reckoned with.
Well, let's stay on this defensive line because they're going to be in the spotlight Friday night with the Hartsville offense, that wing T, the dreaded wing T. What are the responsibilities and what are the Tigers going to have to do to stop this high-octane offense of Hartsville?
Our defense will have to play disciplined football. If they start looking in the backfield, we're in trouble. But if they read their keys, engage with the offensive line, we have a chance of disrupting that offense. I don't think you can stop that offense, but you can sure slow it down some.
Well, I know it's a touchy subject, but last year I think they scored 4 touchdowns with nobody touching the running backs.
Well, that's something we mentioned this week.
I figured you did.
They didn't want to hear it, but they promised that they would do a better job this year against Hartsville's offense.
Well, Hartsville comes into this game 3-0. They beat Camden last week. Their defense only allowed 67 yards against a high-octane offense in Camden. Their defense, Hartsville, the nasty Red Foxes, they were talking the other day. What do you see in that defense, and how are you going to attack it?
Well, we're going to attack it one play at a time. We're just going to take what they give us. They have a good defense. They run a 3-4, and we can exploit them in some areas with that defense, especially with using a tight end and having an unbalanced look where we have trips instead of going dubs, which is a 2-by-2 set with 2 receivers on each side. So we'll try to get them unbalanced and attack them running the ball and doing some play action throws and some run pass options.
Well, what I've noticed on film and seeing them live is that they're very aggressive, and they play through the whistle. They play and talk, and when you're 13-2 last year, you can do about what you want.
Well, that's where we have to be disciplined. We did some things to address discipline this week. Hopefully it'll pay off Friday. But sometimes you can use the aggression of the defense against them with play action passes.
Well, Conway, of course, comes into this game 3-0. And first home game, you've been Road Warriors for the whole season. What does this home game mean to the Conway Tigers?
Well, we're excited about coming home. The guys are ready to play in front of their crowd instead of the majority of the opposing team's crowd. Hopefully they'll stay focused and not get distracted by everything that's going on around them. So they look forward to running down that hill.
Conway Tigers, Hartsville Red Foxes. It's a storied rivalry. Robert Anderson wrote a real good article about the rivalry. What do you remember about the rivalry?
I know it's always a game that determined the region championship back in the days when we played, and also in the early 90s, mid-90s. The region came from either Hartsville or Conway, and you sprinkle in Dillon a few years there. But it's always been a storied ending to a game. It was always close, probably with the exception of 1 year when in 1985 when Robert Brown was a senior. We beat them 28-3, and I think they took 4 guys off the bus to go to the hospital after the game because the Snake Man was on a mission.
He's put several people in the hospital, 4 from Hartsville.
He sure made me a better running back.
Well, let's talk about our Alumni of the Week. A new feature that we had last week was Chris Sansbury. This week, one of our old teammates, Bruce Jones.
Oh, Bruce Jones. Bruce started out as a quarterback at JV, and playing basketball, he hurt his, I think he broke his wrist. He ended up being a tight end and then moving to the offensive line. Bruce is one of my offensive linemen who opened a lot of holes for me. He was a great offensive lineman. He went on to South Carolina State to have a stellar career there and graduated from there with a degree.
Well, Bruce is truly one of the good guys that come out of the Conway program. His mom, she's the queen. That's all you can say.
Yes, she is the queen. Aunt Quinn.
Aunt Quinn. So Bruce Jones is our Alumni of the Week. If you're not already at the stadium, you need to come on out because the Conway Tigers and Hartsville Red Foxes, it's the biggest game in the state. The Conway Tigers are ranked 4th in one poll, 5th in another. Hartsville Red Foxes are 2 and 4A. So this is going to be a big one. This is going to find out how good the Conway Tigers are. So come on out. Join me, Max Smith, and Steve Hall for all the action. We'll be back with the Graham Golf Cars pregame show right here on Gator 107.9.
Go Tigers.